Good evening, Rotorua. Tonight on City News. All Black Liam Messam gets a hero's welcome home. Central Mall redevelopments are adding vibrancy and enhanced shopping experience to the city. And the Bay of Plenty Steamers have lost their final pre-season match 21-19 to Counties Manukau. All Blacks captain Richie McCaw and his teammates Liam Messam, Tawera Kerr-Barlow and Brodie Retallick were in town yesterday on a promotional tour of provincial cities. They visited Liam Messam's old high school, Rotorua Boys, and took part in a jump jam at Eat Street.
Thank you very much, Neil. We'll pass you over to Richie McCaw.
I'm sure there's a few kids probably happy not to be at school, are you?
Oh, it's cool. We do this each year. You go out to the little towns, and you know, people give us a lot of support all year. You know, it's pretty cool to come and say good day. You know, before we get into it.
He had some nice words for Liam. You know, when you first met him, he was a quite shy guy, but now he's number 1-6.
He's an ambassador. He was shy, awkward, didn't realise the career ahead, didn't even realise that how people look up to them, and look at him today. And Richie McCaw, you know, what a hero really, and he just keeps bringing it home for us, and all of New Zealand's inspired by them, and they turn out. This is the common touch meeting the real people, and I love them for that.
The All Blacks are now in camp preparing for the Bledisloe Cup clash in Auckland on the 23rd. Rotorua Central Mall is at near full capacity, with new features like the pavement fountain and new stores creating an exciting shopping feature in the city. Deloitte client manager Peter Faulkner says the flow-on effects of the mall's upgrade would have a positive effect on the CBD.
The vibes that have been coming from the mall here have been generally positive right the way through. So we are now in the process of actually integrating ourselves into the city. We've actually opened up through the Amahau opposite the Tutanikai Street intersection there. When you're standing in the mall as we are now, you look down to the city focus and you have a clear view. And it's when you look at what has happened, the likes of some of the art, some of the work that the council has done in terms of tidying up the street frontages, it looks really great.
In sport tonight, the Bay of Plenty Steamers have lost their final pre-season match 21-19 to Counties Manukau, making it 1 from 2 after beating Hawke's Bay 35-0 last week. The Steamers played Counties at Rugby Park in Whakatane yesterday. The Steamers now prepare for their ITM Cup opener against Southland in Invercargill next Friday. To your weather update now. The forecast tonight is fine spells with the odd shower, strong southwesterlies and an overnight low of -1. Still to come in tonight's program, Alan Solomon catches up with District Councillor Charles Sturt. We're at the Iris Professional Photography Awards exhibition held this week at the Energy Events Centre, and we cover the dedication of the World War I commemorative bridge which spans Sulphur Lake in the Government Gardens.
With the huge success our athletes have had over in the Commonwealth Games in Scotland, especially in the arena of the BMX cross country, Councillor Charles Sturt is probably one of the most excited men about this because his portfolio is sport and recreation. So Charles, pretty happy with the athletes overseas?
We're absolutely delighted that those two athletes who won the bronze and the gold and the silver actually won the national championships here in Rotorua. But this gives a big boost for BMX trail building and trail riding in the Rotorua area. And we want to remain the number one destination for that.
Now BMX has gone through the ranks, especially since Sarah Walker's done so well in the Olympics and the Commonwealth Games. So again, this will probably just add to that?
Yeah, it puts a Rotorua dimension on it. I mean, we were one of the only councils that actually invested in the Avanti drone at Cambridge. We put in $500,000 and look at the investment and how that's returned gold medals to New Zealand in the whole cycling frame. So the 3,500 people who come down from Auckland every weekend to use our bike trails is huge investment for our tourism, our motels and the infrastructure within Rotorua.
Well, it's not just Auckland, because we're out at Waipa early today doing another story, and 2 van loads of students from Cambridge turned up. So it's all around the North Island.
It is. Palmerston North people come up, live-in people up, but we're talking about the mum and dad and a couple of kids who come to Rotorua for that leisure, who stay in the motels, etc., etc. So.
Now, is the bike festival that's coming up early next year, is that under your portfolio as well?
No, I haven't got involved in that at this stage, but yes, I will have more than a passing interest in it.
Now, sticking with the Commonwealth Games, obviously New Zealand got beaten by the Australian team in the netball, but the New Zealand team going to be playing England here in October, so that's another huge lift for the sport here in Rotorua.
Absolutely, and I encourage all Rotorua people to get along to it. I know that the tickets are already pretty much sold out, but to get that level of international sport in Rotorua in our Energy Event Centre it's huge for us, but it also gives an opportunity for Netball New Zealand, through Waitamanu, the coach, to blood in some new players, because obviously the depth wasn't there where these players couldn't step up when others got injured at Glasgow. But to come second in the Commonwealth is still good. So second against fourth, because Jamaica came third, but it'll be a huge boost for the Rotorua Energy Event Centre.
I would imagine that when the England team get here, they'll be looking for some sort of revenge, especially here on home turf.
Oh, indeed, and we only just beat them. We only just beat them by 1 goal to go into the gold medal round. So, yeah, no, we're looking forward to it.
Now, this competition between New Zealand and England is for the Tiny Jameson Cup. Now, she used to be a teacher of yours, didn't she?
Yeah, she was my first primary school teacher when I was 5, but Tiny's been a mainstay of Rotorua netball, Bay of Plenty netball. She was a New Zealand Silver Ferns coach when they won the World Championships. So Tiny's name is synonymous with netball. So the trophy that England and New Zealand will be playing for is the Tiny Jameson Trophy, which New Zealand currently holds, and I'm sure we want to defend it, particularly on home turf, with our Rotorua icon Tiny being honoured in such a way.
Now, just recently there's been obviously a lot of debate about the fluoride issue. You were pretty much one of the main councillors that were against the fluoridation of our water. What was your reaction to Derek Shaw's comments in the paper about you and Meripeka going against the referendum?
Well, like me, I'm entitled to my views and he's entitled to his opinion. I'm elected by the community of Rotorua to reflect their views. I'd got all the information together, not only what the DHB was putting forward, but also community groups, and we led the charge against it. I mean, I'm not anti-fluoride, but I am pro-choice. Okay, and the choice is, you can choose to use fluoride. I'm not stopping you, and same with folic acid and things like that. If you choose to, that's your choice. The health board, of course, say that there is a wider public health issue here with the kids who can't afford fluoride toothpaste. Well, I went to 3 supermarkets on the weekend. Fluoride toothpaste is the cheapest on the shelf.
Now, do you think this fluoridation's gone away, or do you think it's going to be pushed into council again?
Well, no, I think it will come again. And I'm more than happy to stand on my track record of engaging the community, and I'll go to the next council election and say quite clearly I am anti-fluoride and I do not want it in all our water supplies. And those who are pro-fluoride, put your name up against them, we'll see how you get on.
Right,
we'll
Charles.
see whether you reflect the community or you don't.
Yeah, good stuff. Right, Charles, appreciate your time again. Thank you. Good man. Well, for the last 5 days, there has been nearly 800 photos on display here at the Rotorua Energy Event Centre, and it's all in aid of the New Zealand Institute of Professional Photography, who are having their awards tonight at the RSA. Hi Craig, now you're one of 3 local photographers here at the NZIPP. What does it mean for photographers like yourself to be able to come to awards like this?
I think it's about pushing boundaries in terms of it really, I guess, establishes you in terms of your sets where you are benchmarks against the rest of your peers because it's peer judged, and if you're winning awards, then it has some benefit from flow on from marketing as well. So yeah, it's significantly beneficial to the business already and personal kind of development.
Now, you've got 4 photos on display here. Talk to us about this one here, because honestly, when you look at it, it doesn't look like a photo, it looks like someone's hand-drawn it.
Yeah, and I guess that's part of as I said, about pushing boundaries. So this is shot in Kuria Park, just steamy morning, and
obviously in winter.
Yeah, about this time last year actually, and just looking for I guess creating the extraordinary out of the ordinary, I think, is about a lot of the awards are. So people look and go, oh, I'd never have seen that. It's not about, for me, it's not about the big, broad, standard postcard type scenic scene. It's about taking it a step further from that, seeing things within a landscape to make them look different and make an impact.
We certainly do. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Now this one here, Craig, it's you've won a silver award. You obviously like forestry and landscapes and things like that.
Very much landscapes, heading towards for my own business, trying to, I guess, towards selling fine artwork in terms of landscape photography. But as I said again, it's kind of pushing the boundaries a bit with it. So this is actually just some trees down in Gisborne, just on near the waterfront beside the campground down there. So on a foggy morning.
And again, I look at it and it looks like it's been drawn.
Yeah, there's a little bit of treatment been added to it. Some of the camera technology these days allows you to kind of see in the viewfinder and things and treat things slightly differently, and then it's been pushed a step further than that. What I was aiming for was kind of a bit of an etching kind of type look, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with where I got with that.
Yeah, that's amazing, right? Hey, Catherine, thanks for joining us today on City News. Now, around me are some amazing photos of old veterans from World War I and II. Tell me about why they're here and what the New Zealand IPP is.
So the photos are here because NZIPP has done a national project in which we aim to photograph the last of the 3,000 remaining veterans across the country. We have around 100 photographers involved in the project nationwide, and
it's a big project, isn't it?
It is a huge project.
How many have you done?
We've done around 1,600 to date, and that number keeps growing.
Now, you can't tell at home looking through the TV, but when you walk up close to these photographs, they look like paintings. Has there been some sort of trick photography in there? Because honestly, you look at it and you think it's a painting.
Yeah, they're absolutely beautiful, aren't they? There's no trick photography at all. They are pure photographs. The photographers have been given a brief, which they've all needed to follow in terms of lighting to give a consistent feel to the photographs. And then we've had one person post-producing all of the files to give it a consistent look across the board.
Wow, so it's a big job, isn't it? Wow.
It's a huge job.
Yeah. So why are these photos on display here, Catherine?
They're on display today because we've had a national photography awards and conference that's been going on for 5 days now. So we've had 3 days of print judging, which celebrates professional photographers across New Zealand, and we also have Australians entering in the awards as well. And then we have a couple of days of conference as well, so specialist photographic speakers coming to talk.
Now this was a little project on its own, but you've also got other categories that photographers have been able to submit their photos as well.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So in the awards, we've had a range of different genres of photography, everything from landscape to wedding photography to portraits, illustrative, travel, fusion, which is a combination of moving and still images. So there's a lot of different categories of photography in there.
Wow. So how many photos altogether?
How many photos? Approximately 1,200 get submitted into the awards, and they're judged across 3 days of print judging.
Wow, that's a lot of work for the judges. So what sort of things are they looking for in the photos?
So they're looking for the technical aspects of the photographs. So we're looking for technical perfection for it to be an award print. We're also looking for strong communication, so something that really evokes a response in the viewer. We're looking for the sort of fundamentals of photography, so like strong composition, but we're also looking for things that break boundaries of photography as well.
So outside the box, eh?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. One of the things that we look for in what we call a gold award print is that it has an enduring quality, so something that's going to stand the test of time.
Cool. Is there any photos or photographers here from Rotorua?
Oh, there will be absolutely photographers from Rotorua here.
So what's your involvement in all this, Catherine?
So I'm involved in the National NZIPP board, so I help run the conference. I've also entered into the awards, and I've also been a judge as well.
Isn't that a conflict?
You might think that, but you don't get to judge any of your own prints.
Of course, yeah.
So it's on a rotation system, so it's a great system that we have of a panel of 5 judges.
So you've got a couple of different hats.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So as a
definitely.
photographer then, what does this mean for your career if you win?
Oh, if I win, it's a fantastic thing for marketing. Just be able to put yourself out there as an award-winning photographer. It's a big deal for us, and also from a personal perspective, knowing that you're a master of your craft is really important.
Have you got any words for maybe any young people who are looking to get into photography?
Absolutely. I think going out there and speaking to photographers is really important. It's not the easiest career, but it's one that's filled with passion and excitement, and if you love it and you follow your dreams, then you'll get there.
Yeah, cool, awesome. Thanks, Catherine.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Aotearoa Apirana, Kate McQueen. The RSA views this memorial bridge as symbolic as the words of that ever popular song, Bridge Over Troubled Waters. 103,000 New Zealand troops crossed this symbolic bridge on their way to the Great War. Robert Lawrence Binion, in a verse from the Ode for the Fallen, describes as such: "They went with songs to the battle, they were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end, against odds uncounted, they fell with their faces to the foe." At the end of this war to end all wars, our troops trudged, plodded, crawled and limped home across this symbolic bridge.
Pray, Almighty God, by your power and by our willingness, we dedicate this memorial in memory of him who did his duty. In the name of God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Well, a very important occasion here at the Sulphur Lake. Those of you at home might not really know what I'm talking about, but there's now a bridge over this Sulphur Lake that is very, very commemorative. This is the 100th year, of course, the 100th anniversary of the beginning of World War I. And right around the world, including the United Kingdom, there are commemorations. Right here in Rotorua, a very important occasion has just occurred. The bridge, as it was termed this morning or this afternoon, Bridge Over Troubled Waters. It's very, very symbolic and very real. But for the city, one of the things that I was conscious of, Steve, our gallant mayor, of course, was the fact that as you go into your 2030 vision, one of the important parts is not to forget the past, but to take it with you.
That's right, and also the people. Here we've talked about linking up this beautiful city, a walkable city, a place that people can enjoy the environment but also the stories. And this seemed the most significant step today to mark the World War I beginning of atrocities, really, in a war that in the end, you wonder today what those young people, Apirana engaged, thought of. What were we doing today, and did the war leave the world a better place? And so this is a beautiful bit of symbolism, and to have found the bridge being exactly the right span to go over Sulphur Lake was even lovelier.
25 metres exactly.
25 metres. We didn't have to trim the ends.
And it's been hiding, for the people at home again, Steve, it's been hiding away in a Castle Corp depot somewhere.
It has.
Waiting for its time, I think.
Yeah, everything waits for its time. We're all learning that on council. But I think it's very symbolic. Also going to have the Sculpture Symposium, where sculptors will depict in their work what the war means to them and their memories and their stories of the past, and then they will be put around this beautiful Sulphur walkway, and I think it's a sweet spot.
Absolutely, and it was good to see a couple of the young people here unveiling the plaque, obviously.
Yes.
There is a greater, am I right in saying there's a greater consciousness among young people today of what the war, the First World War and the Second World War and the conflicts that we've been involved in, what they actually meant to us as a nation?
Yes, and both Cage and Apirana talked about knowing who in their
family went to the First World War and the Second World War. They know.
They're descendants, aren't they?
They're descendants, and they knew the stories, and they've been studying, so they're becoming researched about what that war was all about for us in New Zealand, what it's meant for us. So we hope to mark the next 4 years with significant little events.
One of the things we've seen here today is a very picturesque surrounding of the whole of Sulphur Lake. Going back into the history of it, of course, there were quite a number of soldiers here who sort of bathed in the waters and were here for healing that actually took part in World War I, so it's very relevant.
So the Rachel Springs that are just over there feed this lake, and they did used to sit in the lake. I'm sure it needed, we've cleaned it up substantially, but the warmth of the lake would have been more powerful. Now we haven't drawn off it. Well, in those days we didn't draw off it so much, but it would have been wonderful to sit in this reserve and see this beautiful place.
And the pukakers are already loving it.
Lots of pukakers around here.
I appreciate your time, and it's very much a Rotorua thing that we can take ownership. I would encourage you, if you can get down here to the Government Gardens, that's where you'll find this Bridge of Remembrance as such, the Memorial Bridge, and it really is a must-see.
That's the new World War I commemorative bridge, and the dedication held on Tuesday at the Government Gardens. If you'd like to see the show again, visit our website tvrotorua.co.nz, or to call the station and talk with one of the team, phone 07 3488 984. Thanks for watching tonight. We hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.